Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Rashmi Salhotra, and I am a professor at UCMS and GTB Hospital. Through this video, I will be telling you about oxygen therapy. So, if you please allow me to share my screen. What is oxygen therapy? It is delivery of oxygen at concentration and pressure higher than that in the ambient atmosphere with the goal to maintain adequate tissue oxygenation and minimize the cardiopulmonary workload. Indications in COVID-19 include SpO2 less than 90% or less than 94 for pregnant females on TrueMed. And this is the commonest reason why patients are coming for admissions to your hospital. So this is one of the simple probes that are available, and they are people are using these. And when they find that SpO2 is less than 90% or 94 in pregnant, they should be reporting to the hospital. While in the hospital setting, you have to look at such a monitor, and the red value that you see over here, or which shows 98%, that's the SpO2. Other indications include shortness of breath, tachypnea more than 30 per minute, confusion or altered mental state, anxiety or agitation or drowsiness, tachycardia, pallor or cyanosis, and a PaO2 of less than 60 millimeter mercury on room air. So how do you find this PaO2 and where do you find it? So this is one of the ABG reports. So if you do an arterial blood gas analysis, and here this is the PO2. So if you find this value less than 60 mm mercury, so that is the indication for initiation of oxygen therapy. Basic requirements include a patient, monitors like SpO2 ABG as we already discussed, source of oxygen, oxygen delivery devices, and interface between source and delivery. So source can be an oxygen manifold, which is also known as the central supply. So here, a lot of cylinders are attached together, and through the oxygen gas pipeline, the oxygen is distributed to the hospital or the ward, to the different areas in the hospital. Then there can be a wall outlet. So this is what you will see in your ward or the ICU areas. Then you can also have concentrators, but usually they are used in the home-based settings as they can deliver very less flow rates, between 1 to 5 liters per minute only. But they generate oxygen by removing nitrogen and concentrate oxygen from the atmosphere. So the oxygen delivered is around 90 to 95% pure oxygen. FiO2 of 1 cannot be achieved with these devices. Others are the oxygen cylinder, which is a black cylinder with white shoulder, and it can be used both for hospital as well as home-based oxygen therapy. And flow range can be, this is high pressure cylinder, so flow can range to 15 liters per minute also, and as per the flow meter, you can reduce or increase the flow. You also require a key for opening the valve. Now, coming to the interface between patient and oxygen source, that is the flow meter assembly. So you have to have this flow meter assembly either at the wall outlet, or you can have it on the cylinder, whatever device you are using to administer the oxygen. So the parts include, this is the nozzle where oxygen can be attached. This is the flow control knob, which regulates the amount of oxygen that you want to deliver. Then there is a flow meter tubing, which will indicate the flow that is being delivered, and there is a bobbin. So once you rotate the flow control knob in the anti-clockwise direction, the bobbin will move up and you can adjust the flow rate. Here is the humidifier, and you need to fill it with water as indicated on the bottle so that you are able to give humidified oxygen to the patient. Coming on to the delivery devices, which can be classified as low flow systems, reservoir systems, high flow systems, and enclosures. This is a nasal cannula or binasal cannula or nasal prongs. This can be used in the hospital as well as the home-based settings. So these are the two prongs which enter into the nostrils. The strap can be adjusted and easily can be worn by the patient. It avoids the oral cavity, so the patient can talk, eat comfortably with this device. It is usually as a first device in COPD patients if they are unable to maintain up to 90, and also it can be useful device during weaning purposes. So when we know that the patient's oxygen requirements are reducing, we can go down to using this kind of a device. So with this, you can give flow rates between 1 to 6 liters per minute, and the FiO2 delivered at 1 is 0.24. And as you increase by 1 liter per minute, the flow rate by 1 liter per minute, the FiO2 increases by 4%. Also, higher flows will not result in much increase in the higher FiO2 deliveries. Therefore, you should not be giving, and also it causes dryness because there is no humidification system that you can use with this device. The next is the simple face mask or the Hudson mask. So here there is a plastic reservoir, there are side holes and a strap to adjust it over the head. Oxygen gets collected in the apparatus dead space at the end of expiration and is inhaled at the beginning of the next breath. So if you want oxygen in this reservoir, the minimum flow rate should be at least 5 liters per minute. So the face mask, if you give at 5 to 6 liters per minute, FiO2 delivered is 0.35, and as you keep increasing, the FiO2 also increases, and the maximum flow rate that you can give with this device is between 8 to 10 liters per minute, where the maximum FiO2 delivered can be up to 0.6. If you still need to give higher fractions of oxygen, your patient is unable to maintain the desired oxygenation with a face mask, you should switch over to a higher device, which we will come later. First, I'll tell you about face mask variants. So there can be a nebulization mask with a nebulizer chamber. It has large holes. So this you need to sometimes give nebulization in the ward and in the ICU. So you can attach this nebulization chamber and give the drug. Also, you can give humidified oxygen through these nebulizing chambers. So now if your patient is unable to maintain at 0.6 FiO2, then you can give even higher FiO2s with this kind of bags, which are also known as the reservoir face mask. Here there are two types which you can see. The one that you can see on the left side does not have any valves, and the one on the right side has valves. So I'll come to each in the details. So these are oxygen mask with reservoir. This is the partial rebreathing mask without the valves, and the one with the valves has non-rebreathing mask. So here in the partial rebreathing type, you see that there is a reservoir bag and there are no valves and only exhalation port. So this is partial rebreathing. So this is how when the patient is fitted with a partial rebreathing bag, the bag is inflated with oxygen because oxygen should be flown at a rate of between 10 to 15 liters per minute. And this is a non-rebreathing type of bag where you see there are expiratory valves over the exhalation ports, and there is an inspiratory valve between the mask and the reservoir bag. So the minimum flow, as I already told, should be between 10 to 15 liters per minute, and the reservoir bag should remain inflated. The bag should collapse partially during inspiration, and then in the partial rebreathing mask, you will be able to deliver FiO2s between 40 to 70% with flow rate between 10 to 15. And with a non-rebreathing mask, you can deliver 70 to 90% oxygen. If you want to give deliver oxygen at even higher FiO2s, that is up to 1, then you can use a high flow nasal cannula. So this device requires flows of oxygen as high as up to 70 liters per minute, and the oxygen is humidified and heated to a temperature of 37 degrees centigrade before delivery to the patient, and the flow rates used are between 60 and 70 liters per minute. It is lightweight and flexible with a delivery tubing and adjustable head strap, soft and flexible nasal prongs. Again, the patient comfort is very good. The drying of secretions that used to occur with other devices is minimized with this, but we have a lot of these devices, but they can be used only when there is uninterrupted flow of oxygen and there is no dearth of oxygen. So you should be using these devices very carefully and select patients only when you know that the oxygen flow, that if you are using this high flow, you will keep getting that much of oxygen supply. So coming on to the parts of this machine, this is the oxygen line, which is attached to a flow meter over here. Again, you see the flow meter, which is graduated. You can adjust the flow. Then there is fluid bag, which goes into this humidifying chamber. So this is distilled water. You cannot use normal saline. You can use only distilled water with this. Then this is the heated circuit. These are the nasal cannula which fit into the nose of the patient. So this is another model which is available. There is a single flow control knob over here which will control all these parameters, and here you can control the oxygen. Now we come on to one more weaning device, which is the Venturi mask. A Venturi mask has a Venturi valve fitted in front of it. There are adjustable straps just like a simple face mask, and a Venturi valve and a jet port which provides 100% oxygen. Now usually these devices have have the values of the flow rates as well as the percentage of oxygen that it will deliver at that particular flow rate mentioned over it. And this is the air entrainment port and the exhalation port. So this is another type of Venturi. You can see the graduations. I will show you in detail. Here, looking at it closely, you can see the values written 26, 28, 31, 35 and the corresponding flow rates that you can use. So for delivery of 26% FiO2 or an FiO2 of 0.26, you have to give a flow rate of 3. And this is the arrow. So if you need to adjust the arrow, if you want to give 26, you have to have this arrow in front of 26. So you can rotate it. It's over a spring, you can rotate it easily. And this now current settings, it can deliver 28% FiO2 when you set the flow rate to 4 liters per minute. So you can rotate and set and deliver. And the maximum FiO2 that you can deliver is FiO2 of 0.5 at 15 liters per minute of flow rate. So when you are comfortable, when your patient is comfortable with a non-rebreathing face mask or a partial rebreathing face mask, and you think that you want to switch to lower oxygen values, you can use this Venturi and start at the highest, and then you can keep going and titrate according to the SpO2. This is another type of Venturi valves which you do not need to rotate. There is no arrow, but this is a single Venturi valve. If you want to deliver 24% FiO2, you have to attach this Venturi valve, start the flow at 2 liter per minute. If you want to go to higher values, you need to switch over to different other valves. So this is 28. Accordingly, you can change. Now, for the sake of completion, I would also be including this hood or enclosures in this lecture, but I don't think you will be getting such patients over here at your place of posting. But these are enclosures, also known as oxygen hoods, and this is the gas inlet. So the infant's face is kept inside the enclosure. These are clear plastic cylinders that encompass the infant's head. They can provide FiO2 between 0.8 and 0.9 at a flow rate of 10 to 15 liter per minute. So oxygen enters the hood through the gas inlet and exhaled gases exit through the openings around the neck. Now, which delivery system would you want to choose for which patient? So it depends upon the 3 P's. So one is the purpose, patient, and the performance. So purpose generally of oxygen therapy is to improve the PaO2 or the SpO2 and the general well-being of the patient. Then you look at the patient. So the severity and cause of hypoxia should be kept in mind, and accordingly, if the patient is in severe hypoxia, you start off from the devices which deliver higher FiO2s, and then you gradually step down, or depending upon the position, or you can choose a particular device and then you step up or step down depending upon the clinical behavior of the patient. Then looking at the patient age group, you have to decide which device would be better. Degree of conscious and alertness. If your patient is conscious and alert, you can start off with these masks or the high flow nasal cannula. But if the alertness is hampered, you may have to intubate or go with mechanical ventilation. If already the patient is intubated, then you obviously would like to use the ventilator. Then stability of minute ventilation. That means it depends upon the respiratory rate. If the respiratory rate is too high and you feel that all the accessory muscles of respiration are in use and the patient will tire out, you might need to switch over to non-invasive ventilation and even to invasive ventilation in certain cases. But I will deal with that in another video. Then you look at the mouth breathing versus nose breathing. Again, this is a situation where you choose either a nasal BiPAP mask or an oral BiPAP mask. Then you look at the performance of the device. If the patient is more critically ill, then the FiO2 requirements are high, then you go with devices which deliver higher FiO2s. Whereas if the patient condition is less critical and lower FiO2s are required, you can start off with nasal cannula or simple face mask and then go on to higher or lower FiO2s as per the requirement. Now, what are the goals? So all this is being done with a goal to maintain the SpO2 of more than 90 to 96% in stable patients. In unstable patients, the goal is up to 94%. And in pregnant women, the goal is between 92 to 95%. So that brings us to the end of this talk, and rest of the things will be discussed in another topic, another video. Thank you.